beginning of my coming out story. This is the start of a new journey for me, and it's the first chapter. It's the absolute beginning of finally being who I'm meant to be. It's my story, and it's the story of how I got here, how I finally came to accept who I am and embrace who I am. It's the first part. It's me realizing how this is who I'm meant to be, and that everyone who's in my life is here for a reason, and everyone that walked out for their own reason, and they didn't stay because they couldn't handle me or who I am, or for their own personal reasons it wasn't good for them to be around. They didn't like it, they couldn't accept it. It's their choice, they're gone now, and I've learned to realize that that's just how life is. It's not gonna be, everything is not gonna be about you. It's not gonna always be happy. There's gonna be struggles, there's gonna be ups and downs, there's gonna be moments in your life that you don't understand why they happen, but they happen. You can't change them, you just need to learn from them. So this is me and my story. This part of my story started when I was 13, and now I'm 21, and I have decided that this is where I want to go. So the beginning of my story, it's going to cut in, was at 13, I decided to hang out with my friends and go down to the east side of the state of Nebraska, and we went to a church camp. And a couple of us, there's 4 of us on this trip, and we decided we were just going to mess around and talk and tell jokes, and we were good enough friends that that's all they were supposed to be, was jokes. And they kept messing around and saying, oh, nobody wants to stay in the room with Katie because she likes girls. Don't shower with Katie, or go in the showers with Katie, blah blah blah, just random teenage stuff. And I realized while I was down there, away from my parents and the influence of a small town, that I very easily and very much so did actually like girls. At 13, that was scary, and that was in the summer. So once school started, it was my freshman year of high school, and that's scary. High school is scary. Beginning of high school is scary, and just coming into who I am, on top of a new school with upperclassmen and all the rumors and everything else, I wasn't really sure how this year was going to go. And then along came this girl during the basketball season. So in November, I think, is the high school season. She tried out for the team, and she was absolutely amazing. And she's a senior, I'm a freshman. I looked up to her, I guess you could say, and then it just blossomed for me from there. And I decided I couldn't handle this on my own, but I wasn't really sure what to do. So I went to this next part. I did finally decide to start talking. I started journaling, and I put it in my phone, and I was nice one night on a basketball trip with my friends. I thought, hey, I'm going to be the bigger person. I'm going to let you use my phone and text when you're not supposed to. When your parents have deliberately told you, you cannot text your boyfriend. And I was nice. So, the basis of the story is we are 2.5 hours away from our hometown, and my friend, she got in trouble or whatever, and her parents told her, you can't text your boyfriend, we're blocking his number, we don't want you with him, that kind of thing. And since I think I'm a pretty genuine person, and I'm giving and accepting and forgiving and everything along those lines, I told her she could use my phone, but she needed to stay in just messages, and she could use my phone until 1 o'clock that morning. We had a game the next day, and I wanted it back. So I gave her my phone, and I waited up for her, saying, hey, it's time for bed. Let's go. And the stuff that was on my phone was talking about how I wasn't sure where my feelings had come from, but that I knew this is who I was, that nothing was going to change, and I just wanted a chance to be with this girl. But my friend didn't stay in the messages. She decided to betray my trust and went into my journal that was on my phone and read it. The next morning, I went down to breakfast before at the hotel, just continental breakfast and everything. One of my friends pulled me aside and said, we need to talk, and I was just confused. I didn't know what was going on, and she told me that this friend of mine had told a couple people about what was on my phone, and I guess you could say I lost it. I didn't know what to do. I wasn't sure how to respond, and so I denied it. I felt I was going to lose my friends if they found out this is who I was, that this is who I'm supposed to be. So I spent the next hour and a half to our next game. We had to travel quite a ways, and explaining to the people she had told that she made it up, that she lied, that this wasn't true, like she just took it out of context, that me and the senior were just friends, and it's probably the stupidest thing I've done since knowing this is who I am, since discovering, at 7 years ago, that this is who I am. Why deny it? It shouldn't be. It's not a big deal. I can't change it. I don't want to change it. It's who I am, and so yeah, I spent an hour trying to convince everyone, this isn't me. It's just fake. And by the time we got home that night after our game, it had gone from me knowing the night before how I felt to 4 people by the next morning, and then when we got home, it had gotten out that 11 people had known or discovered how I felt. That I was just shocked. I mean, yeah, it's a small town and everything, but as a team, we weren't even in that town. We were 2.5 hours away. We were playing a basketball game. Like, I could not figure out how this many people had known and figured out. And the shocking part to me is that this girl that I had been writing about didn't know. She had not heard. I still, even to this day, don't think she knows. If she hasn't told me. We're still friends, and but she didn't find out. And my sister, who is older than me, is actually on the basketball team with me. Somehow she didn't hear about it, and it was a mess. I remember being home and being so upset that this was really the beginning of me drifting away and cutting myself off from telling people things, from sharing things that are important to me and important to understand who I am. And I went home and I was upset. I was angry. I lost it. I just didn't know how to handle what was happening to me, because this wasn't my choice. I wasn't ready. I wasn't even really sure myself what was going on, what my feelings were and everything. And my mom decided to talk to me about everything and ask what was going on, and I knew I could not tell her. And so I lied for months. I lied, but within that first week, she had taken my phone actually and gone through it trying to find out what was going on between me and this girl, because we were fighting. The one that had told everyone, and she actually ended up calling this girl's parents because we're freshmen and we're 14 years old and we're name calling and just stupid. And she called this other girl's mom and they tried to figure out what was going on, but neither of us were talking. We didn't want to share. I didn't want to acknowledge that I had let this get out of my hands, that I had let this go. So I just lied, and I pulled away and I pulled into myself that everything about what was happening just couldn't be true. So finally, after a couple months, that was in February, and after a couple months, it was towards the end of school and this girl was graduating because she was a senior, and I decided, I needed to have people on my side. I needed to have people that knew and would support me, but I wanted it to be my choice. So I ended up telling a couple of my friends that I knew I could trust, that I knew were going to stay around, or I guess I was hoping. I wasn't really sure at that point, and I was hoping they would stay around. So I told a few of them, which few I think translates to 4. I think my number is correct, 4 or 5. And they were just like, Katie, we're not stupid, we've known, it's not a big deal, we're friends, we're gonna support you and everything. And that just impacted me so much because I wanted that support. I needed that support, but I didn't know who to turn to for it. I didn't know what I was gonna do. So them saying they supported me and would help me through whatever was amazing. So I guess that was the long run of chapter 1 of my coming out story. First 3 months anyways. The fact that I kept it together in this video was pretty impressive to myself, because I've talked about it in person to people, but I've never recorded it. I've never tried to explain it without having something in front of me to distract me, such as my phone or the TV, or them having something that distracts them. So if you're still listening to this, and if you experience this or anything, I'm here. It's not the easiest life. It's not the most glamorous start of a story or anything, but it's my story and it's unchangeable at this point. And I think it's really molded me into who I am. So, chapter 1, check that off, and chapter 2 to come later, I guess. And if you think I should stop, go ahead and comment. Let me know if you think I should keep going. Show me some support. And I'll take the bad. I can take criticism. I can take the hate. It doesn't matter. I've done this for 7 years now, so I'm ready. And we're opening new doors.